Welcome to the Reignite Your Life workshop. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, some of you have been following me for a while and have maybe participated in some of my other webinars or workshops. And this as well, some people may be new to me. I wanted to share just a little bit about me and specifically how I can totally relate to where many of you are right now. So a few years ago, around 2015, I was in a downward spiral in my health and my life. I felt lost, unappreciated, low energy, trying to compensate or numb out with overeating, overdrinking, overspending. I was feeling like I was the victim. I was not taking responsibility for any of my situation. I was blaming others and ignoring my health and life. I hit a point where I knew I needed to change, but I had tried and failed so many times in the past, and I could not be consistent. I did take action and improved my health, losing weight, feeling a lot better, though cutting out alcohol, eating clean, creating routines in my life. But I still had this underlying feeling of discontentment and regret that my life was passing me by and I felt stuck. I was also emotionally dysregulated. So I would overreact and become overly emotional. I would leave conversations, ignore situations. I started my journey to become a certified health and life coach, and I started learning some really great coaching tools. And it was when I completed my life coach certification, which included mindset shifts, my whole life changed. I went from blame to acceptance, from disempowerment to empowerment, from low energy to being energized throughout the day. It was really, truly transformational. Through these mindset shifts, I was able to start my own business, pay off a significant debt, improve my health, have nurturing relationships, and start to find joy and abundance in my life. And now I coach other women to change their lives with energy, health, and happiness. So that's just a little bit about me. And I know that what I wanted to do is to just make sure that this is all recorded. And there we go. Okay, good. So if you are on, just mute yourself. Thanks for joining me today. And I just started with a quick or just an intro. Um, I want to make sure that, let's see, and I'll pin myself there. There we go. Okay. So I was able to just change the location. There we go. All right. So let's get into this. In today's workshop, I wanted to show you how you too can achieve the same, where you're present throughout the day, where you see the abundance all around you. You tap into your motivation, you keep commitments to yourself, you are inspired and delighted in life's possibilities. You intentionally plan your day and consistently take action. You have the emotional capacity, this is a big one, to handle emotionally charged conversations. You remain grounded and present in your empowerment. So I just want to go over what we're going to cover today. And number one is, why are you stuck? Number two, then we'll get into how to get unstuck. And three, what do you want to change? So, what really do you want in your health and life? We're going to get specific and get you kick started tonight. Okay, so why are you stuck? These are just some of the ways that people I work with and myself, I have felt this way as well. And it's keeping you stuck. You may think that this is all very true, that you are overwhelmed with life, you have too much to do, no time. So all of these things, we think that this is the truth, and it can be part of it. However, it doesn't have to be that way. This is If we keep believing it, then we keep staying stuck. So some of the other reasons that people feel they're stuck is they're confused about what to do. They feel it's too late to get healthy, to change their life. They feel they're too old or sometimes too young. They feel like they're too unhealthy. They're just a procrastinator. Who has used that before? Nothing has worked before. They're not disciplined. They have too much. It's too much money. Not they have too much money. We can never have too much money, but it's too much money to make the change, possibly. They feel like they're not in control of their life and time. Maybe you feel the same way. Which one of these? Think about which one of these you resonate with. So why are you stuck? Let's see. We'll get to that one. So why are you stuck? These are some of the reasons that people will identify, but really truly why are you stuck? Well, you're stuck because you're believing the stories that you've told yourself about these obstacles, about that having not enough time, not enough resources, not confused, staying in a state of confusion. You believe the limiting stories that you don't have the time, the energy, the resource, the knowledge, the control to really take control of your life and to change your life. Also, you may be thinking that you have to have everything perfect and aligned, that if you just had more time, a better environment, the perfect nutrition plan, the right workout, the thinner body, the more money, more control then you would have less stress and have more energy and be happier. So, what happens is, though, we're believing these stories, the limiting beliefs, and we're waiting for our circumstances to change so we can feel better. And I want to offer to you that it's a reverse of this. When you start changing how you are feeling, your circumstances will change. Wayne Dyer, he has a famous quote: if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And this is exactly what happened to me. See, I had lost the weight and I thought that that would change how I felt about my life, but I still was stuck. I still felt regret, disappointment, frustration, embarrassment. This mindset was really keeping me in an emotional cycle and I was stuck. I didn't I didn't have the tools to move out of it. And it was only when I learned to see how my thoughts were creating the negative emotions that were keeping me in the procrastination, the over consuming, over scrolling, sort of numbing out, but also a lot of procrastination, just not doing things. So when I changed how I was thinking and feeling about my health and life circumstances, and day by day, these changes, my health and life circumstances improve significantly. How do we make the changes? Well, we make them by changing the stories. We can start feeling more confident, less stress, more present, more healthy. We have more impact, more connection, and we feel more energetic and have more vitality. So let's move on to the second stage here. How do we get unstuck? So I want to ask you, what is your predominant emotion right now in your health and or life? Like, how are you feeling? You could be in the small percentage where you're already feeling like I feel just awesome, but maybe pick an area where it's an area you want to grow in, but maybe you have this overall, like for me, my overall predominant emotion was discontent. I just was discontent. Things just weren't, I just wasn't content. It could be your predominant emotion is sad, lonely, inadequate, irritated, jealous, angry, confused, helpless, insecure, anxious, depressed, so what is your predominant emotion? How do you want to feel instead? Do you want to feel now the desired emotion? Do you want to feel energetic, excited, hopeful, thankful, powerful, confident, joyful, empowered, connected. Those all sound really good. Like, which one do you really want to feel? When you can look at your predominant emotion, if you're stuck in insecurity, confusion, irritation, sadness, you're stuck there. And what you want, what we teach in my coaching program is being able to shift into more of that desired emotion. And it's a process. You have to process through these emotions. You have to process and allow yourself to feel some of these emotions versus numbing out and turning to over consuming. In some cases, it's over exercising. People just won't address. Now, that's somewhat of a healthy habit, but it can be over the top as well. So, what I have found in my work with many women, it comes down to the four C's, how we make this change. And the four C's being clarity, commitment, consistency, and celebration. With clarity, I really like to ask people about their harmonies. Now, when I talk about harmonies, there's four harmonies of life: the harmony with ourselves, harmony with others, harmony with our environment, and harmony with God. In which area are you out of harmony? So, are you out of harmony with yourself? Ask yourself the question regarding your physical health and emotional health. Do you have low energy? Do you have brain fog? Do you feel just just disinterested in life? Looking at the harmony with others, ask yourself if certain relationships are draining your energy. Are they taking away time that you could be using prioritizing yourself? Maybe it's the harmony with the environment. Ask yourself if the environment is draining your energy, that you're not in control of your time. And finally, it could be that you don't have the harmony with God, with your creator, in being able to have a dialogue and have the faith in knowing and practicing your belief. So we start with that. We look at, okay, let's get clarity on where you want to go. Like, what do you want? What's missing? What's missing? Where do you want to be able to go? And we are in this third stage that's coming up. We're going to be really getting into that, where you want to go. But for now, I just want you to understand that one of the processes that I use for guiding people through this change is we gain clarity. I help them to gain clarity. I help them to work on their commitment. So that means creating goals, planning for how to achieve the goals. In my coaching program called The Legacy Life, I guide people through their vision of life, identifying what they want to work on, and creating a 3-month goal. And this Legacy Life is a 3-month coaching program that I guide people through and I coach them through. I have them plan out how to work on their goals and how they plan, how they work on their goals. And then it comes to consistency. The consistency is, how will you work on your goal? What routines, what habits will you implement? These should fit into your life and meet you where you're at right now. So habits and routines that someone else is doing who may have a lot of time in their day may not fit with your lifestyle. If you're working, if you're also have a family that you're taking care of, a variety of ages, it all depends. So how are you managing the obstacles is another big one for consistency. This is what I see that happens, is that when people experience obstacles, because they think, and we all do, we have the motivation when we first start out, and then something happens, life gets in the way. And then we're like, oh, there it goes. I guess I can't work on my goal. Instead, I teach my clients a neuro-based coaching tool that's so effective in changing how you think and feel about things. In Romans 12:2, there's a passage that is so true. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that really is this renewing of your mind when you're working towards a goal in creating this consistency. Do you need a morning routine like my intentional morning routine where you prioritize meditation, possibly prayer time, journaling, and using a specific coaching tool? You create also, when you work on this consistency, you create emotional capacity to sit with any emotion. You process the emotion, you choose how you want to feel about a situation. You know, where I showed you that predominant emotion and what's the desired emotion, you can choose how you want to think and feel about a situation. But it takes practice. It takes practice. It takes trial and error. It takes examples. It takes a coach in looking at from the outside, showing you how you think. That's what a coach really is powerful in doing, is showing you how you're thinking, bringing awareness to your thinking. Then finally, it's celebrate. Celebrate the small wins that you have during the week with and every day with the community, with accountability, with group coaching. However, you're celebrating that, you are giving yourself that deserved, yes, I did this small win. Like, small wins don't wait till the end of the 3 months, but we acknowledge small wins as we go through. All right. So now we're moving and shaking here. Let's see. What do you want to change? All right. What do you want to change here? So we have, I'm gonna pull up a wheel of life chart, or it's like a nice little wheel of life. I had it pulled up earlier, but I don't know where. There it is. Okay, let's see. I can share my screen. So here we go. Okay. So this wheel of life, there's the 8 sections, and you'll find this wheel of life. I have changed it, wheel of health and life. There's different versions. This is my version because I like people, my coaching clients, to look, and I even use this. I look at these areas: growth, financial, environmental, fun and recreation, relationships, physical health, and emotional health. So when we're looking at this, you'll see that it's ranked 1 to 10. So 10 means you are doing awesome, and 0 is you're bombing. So most people are in between, of course, 1 and 10. Now, what I'd like you to do is just take a moment here. I'll give you a minute. I want you to rank these areas. Just write it down real quick. Like, what's the number that comes up for you? You can pay, and once you do that, I'll give you a minute to do, and I will do it myself as a good refresher. So you can start with whichever one you want. Sometimes I'll write it out separately and I'll highlight it. I'll use like some bright highlighters to change the color in each one. It just depends, just to make it a little flashy. Okay, so let's jump into it. Now, what you can do, there's 2 ways to approach this. You can pick the lowest life area to create a goal. So what we're doing here is we're going to be creating a goal. You can pick the lowest number, or you can choose an area that stands out. It could be that maybe let's say fun and recreation is a 6 and growth is a 3. And you're like, well, I could pick growth or but I really have wanted to do more fun things. So pick something like fun. It could be increasing the number of fun things that you'll do during the next few months, scheduling time with friends. And the cool thing is about a lot of these goals, when you pick a goal and set it for the 3 months, it often has a domino effect. So what you'll do is you'll work on fun and recreation, but it will improve your growth because maybe you'll meet new people. Maybe you'll go to a museum or something that sparks your interest in your growth and learning. So that's what I mean, is that you want to just work on an area of your life that you are gravitating, you're pulled towards it. So pick one, and of course, like if you decide after you watch this that, oh, I want to go back and change it, you totally can. But once you go through the steps, you want to keep that goal. I had a couple of people in one of my um 3 month coaching cycles that waited a little bit too long to set the goal, but they still got it done. It was like they only had like a little bit more than 2 months, but they achieved it still. But I do recommend people to try and get their goal set at the beginning. All right, so once you work towards the goal, the goal is like a lighthouse. And that's how I want you to think of it, that it's a lighthouse that's guiding you. You're seeing it in the distance and it's guiding you to where you want to go in life and your health. You set 3 month goals and plan for what and when you'll do the steps to achieve the goal. We're often not taught how to do this. It's a skill that you learn and you practice. In my Legacy Life coaching program, we set 3 month goals and I walk people through how to achieve the goal. We don't just the goal and leave it. We learn the steps and overcome the obstacles, as I mentioned, that always come up. And it comes up for one person, and another person will see how that person will solve it. So it's sort of a reciprocal in the coaching, in the live group coaching that we do. I found that when people have a goal to work on towards, they have a renewed sense of energy. They know where and how to put that energy to good use to achieve your goal. This reignite your life. You want an area that you've identified that you're like, yes, I want to do this. This is getting me jazzed. I know I want to do this. Now, creating a goal, you probably have heard or seen the SMART acronym, and this stands for make the goal specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. What I recommend my clients to do is to state and we're using the 3 months, by December 31st, I will blank or I have blank, whatever the outcome is. By December 31st, I'll give you my example is I'm painting the kitchen and painting the walls. And that is going to be my goal, my 3 month goal, one of them. I do have a business goal, a home goal, and a health goal. My health goal is to actually I'm improving my mobility, but it's being able to get up from the floor multiple times without major hands on the ground with the butt lifted up, just to have that mobility in the hips and the knees. So instead of setting a not necessarily a weight loss goal, but achieving or maintaining a weight, I'm looking at it differently, like a functional movement goal. So in that time range, you want to make your goal by a specific time. You want to be very specific on what I don't want to just improve my flexibility. My goal is it's called a crab to standing. So to do a crab to standing by December 31st. My goal for the kitchen is the kitchen walls will be completely finished and painted by December 31st. With there's a few other little things that come with that. And once we have that stated, then your mind is going through, okay, what am I going to do? Like, how am I actually going to achieve this? Now, in the legacy life, we go through and I give you some different handouts and resources to walk you through identifying the steps and really using the time management system that I have. I also have a planner, a digital planner that I give to everyone. But one thing that I wanted to give to you or to recommend for you to do that can be really powerful is to have an anchor habit that will help you reach your goal. So in my example, and I'm going to get to this other portion here, but my example of the kitchen is my anchor habit, my daily anchor habit that's going to be connected to the kitchen is I'm going to make sure that the countertops are cleaned off every night. That means that the air fryer is put away. That means the pans that have been washed and drying on the counter are put away. Because I noticed that I've gotten like just sort of like leave it around and the kids aren't even here. So it's not like I can blame them, like, oh, you're leaving. So it's me. I'm leaving all this stuff around. And what I want to do, and it leads into this, I want to step into the version of the person, the Heather, who has the kitchen that is completed. Walking in and the kitchen looks updated, it looks fresh, it looks inviting. And my anchor habit, it's small, but I can do that. I'm living into that person. Who is she? I'm living into that person who keeps their countertops clear. Sort of interesting, right? Now, what about the health goal of crab to standing? Crab is basically a reverse boat, or sort of it's sort of hard to explain, but it's where your hips are up and your one hand is down and one hand comes up like that, and your feet are on the ground. So it requires flexibility. My anchor habit is to do a yoga squat every day after I work out. And a yoga squat is a really deep squat where the heels are on the ground. And when I practiced yoga for many, many years, this was not an issue. And then I stopped. I was still practicing, but I stopped doing this deeper squat and I noticed a big change in my hips and knees. So, this little anchor habit that I'm going to do, I'm just going to throw it in, that will help me in the mobility of what my long term goal is. Okay. So, when I mentioned who is she, when you're creating a goal and you're setting the habits and the routines, what is the person? Who is she? What is she doing? What kind of habits does she have in place? The person who has achieved this 3 month goal, if you flash forward to December 31st, these are habits that she possibly has in place. Is she more connected to faith? Does she move daily? Does she prioritize self care? Does she optimize nutrition? Does she manage her stress? Is she well rested? Does she manage her mindset? Does she manage her time and her plans? Does she feel in control? Does she communicate effectively? Does she take time to learn and to grow? So, these really, when you're setting your goal, it's not necessarily the goal that you've set, it's who you are becoming on the way to achieve the goal. It's you stepping into the person, that new identity. Because If you remain who you are right now, that person would have already achieved the goal. And it's our work to figure out what is that person, your version of you 3 months in the future, what is she doing? And it may not be all of this, right? It's going to be like two or three of these, but think of what habits and routines, planning, self-care, communicating, how this is very important. How is she feeling? How is this person feeling? So for me, it could be energized, motivated, consistent. There's other ones like abundant, committed. Does she have clarity, a feeling of clarity? Does she have a feeling of it being inspired? Is she joyful, hopeful, present, confident? And you have that one or two emotions again like that. What is that desired emotion? Does it match up here? Is there that the one that you picked out at the beginning of the workshop? Can you bring it here to who she is, and that will give you the energy, how you're feeling about this person, you in the future, how you want to feel will give you the energy to take the actions that you have to take to reach your goal. That's really what it is. It's the energy behind. That's what emotions are. They're energy behind your actions, and you get to choose. That's the amazing thing. You get to choose. Now, I wanted to follow up with tell you a little bit about what the legacy life is, and it's a life filled with authenticity, connection. Oh, I realized I wasn't pointing to my, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I figured out here. Here's my, I was pointing to all of these, but it still was at the wheel of life. So, this is where I was talking about the habits and routines, and then I was talking about feeling energized and how is she feeling? Is she energized? Is she feeling abundant? So, as we talk about this legacy life program, what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about it. It's a life filled with authenticity, connection, growth, health, faith, abundance, generosity, resilience, adventure, and purpose. Have you ever felt overwhelmed and discouraged, right? We've talked a lot about that today. Frustrated, discontent, insignificant. Maybe you're confused about any of this. It's a lot. Changing how you're acting and how you're feeling, it is a big change. And what we want to do is, I created this coaching program so it combines everything in one place. So you can start living a life to the fullest with health, joy, connection with the people in your life. You can look back at a life well lived with meaning and purpose. You can continue to contribute to the betterment of the world. Start living a full life when you realize the life that you're meant to live. Stop waiting for other people to change or for your circumstances to change. You can make the changes, and there are many things that are under your control. So what you get in the 3 months in the coaching program, so you get, it's a weekly group coaching on a virtual platform. It's around like 45 minutes to an hour that we meet every week. It's recorded, so you can definitely watch it afterwards. There's many modules and training on stress management system, stress management, time management, stress management, mindfulness, meditation, and yoga, mindset shifts based on cognitive neuroscience. There's creating nurturing home environments, and there's brain health lifestyle modules, including sleep, nutrition, and exercise. The weekly group coaching as I mentioned, is on the virtual platform, but you also get, as a bonus, you receive 3 private coaching video calls with me. And a lot of people will use one each month. So October, whatever day, whatever month you start, to target in on your goals and help coach you through the material in the program. So I can't wait for you to experience this amazing legacy life and start creating a life of connection, purpose, health, and joy. When after this workshop, you'll get an email going out with a link to join. So with a couple of options for you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the legacy life.